By definition, you're watching Game Night.
Good evening to you and welcome to our first Friday game night of the season. Week 0 in high school football and early on non-district matchups getting ready for the run to the playoffs, but we've got a good one to start with tonight. And for that, we head up to Reeves Athletic Complex. Brian Sanders. Brian, these are a couple of kind of new kids on the block when it comes to powerhouses in Texas.
Yeah, in fact, two teams that could very well set the pace for the rest of the season. Cedar Park and Westwood, neighboring rivals. They compete in different divisions, but certainly both with very high expectations this year, and a great test right off the bat. We take you out to Reeves Stadium, our second KBVO big game of the week, and well, both teams still working out the early kinks of week 1. Brian Hogan intercepted deep by Brad Florence, his second turnover of the half. No score in the second quarter until Westwood put some points up. Ben Johnson, coming to Texas for baseball, finds Des Wyatt wide open, sure-handed receiver, son of UT receiver coach Darrell Wyatt. Again, Cedar Park, a little miscommunication as Brian Hogan fumbles the snap. Westwood takes over, and that's how they go to half, up 7-0, where the Warriors. Cedar Park does come back out, though, and gets it together. Brian Hogan on the keeper this time, ties the game at 7 apiece. They missed the extra point on their second touchdown that would have tied it back at 14, so Westwood with a 1-point edge, and then they deliver the knockout punch. Ladines Anderson ripping off a 60-yard run for the eventual winner, and Westwood turning some heads tonight with a 21-13 win over a Cedar Park team that certainly figures to go deep in the playoffs and possibly contend for a 4A title. They went through the regular season last year unbeaten. Not this year. Again, this game will air in its entirety over on KBVO tomorrow night. Live in Round Rock, Brian Sanders, KXAN News. Roger?
All right, thank you, Brian. Now to one of those 16-15 5A battles. Bowie coming off a co-district championship, actually one of 3 to share in 15 5A with Anderson and Westlake. Meantime, Pflugerville, a 5-5 disappointment last year. This one played down in South Austin at the Burger Center. Low-scoring affair. Bowie, though, Robbie Dickey up top. That's to Kurt Clark down to about the 15-yard line, and then Gino Jonasant. He dives into the end zone over the goal before the ball pops out. Bulldogs with a 7-0 lead, but then it is Blaine Kromecki up top to Devontae Broussard. Broussard is gone. 63 yards, but a second-half touchdown for Bowie is the difference. They win it 14-7. Bulldogs a winner over Pflugerville. All right, let's turn our attention to McNeil and Bastrop. Bastrop had an outstanding year last year. McNeil won just one game, and it was against Bastrop. That is Zach Kuhn for the Mavericks with the short touchdown, up 7-0. And then Shyler Wrinkle, he goes for 20 yards down to the 3-yard line, knocked out of bounds, but sets up another touchdown. It was 26-0. But Bastrop stormed back. It is 26-21. They are in the fourth quarter. McNeil is leading it, but Bastrop has got it within a touchdown. All right, let's head up to Waco for Round Rock and Midway. That's Jeff Cheatham in his second year with the Dragons from Round Rock. Nigel Hines with a nice run right there. Dragons trying to get it going after winning 2 games last year. And then it's Garrett Gerds up top to Cole Toms. Nice catch for Toms. That will set up a Gerds touchdown, but it's all Midway late, and they go on to win it 31-14. Your final score. Good 4A battle as LBJ takes on Hutto. Hippos coming off a co-district title with Conley. LBJ expected a challenge for the 26 4A title with a bunch of starters back on both sides of the ball. And LBJ talked about this matchup when we went out on the first day of practice back in early August. This one up in Hutto, and early on LBJ, outstanding quarterback, and Darius Collins up top to Randon Knotts. That little receiver slip screen, and he slips his way to a touchdown. LBJ has a 6-0 lead, and then things go from bad to worse for Hutto as the snap over punter Daniel Samaripa goes over his head. Now he picks it up. Fortunately for him, he doesn't get out of the end zone. Instead of a turnover at the 1, it's a safety. 8-0 when the Hippos get rolling. Ryan Higgins, the quarterback, to Matt Olson, right into your living room. That sets up Greg Petrie. Hippos roll late, 43-26 is your final score. We head up to Gupton Stadium in the Leander ISD. Hendrickson taking on Vista Ridge. Outstanding year last year for that young Vista Ridge program. They went 9-3. Fourth down play for the Rangers, and Mason Tom with the diving touchdown. Vista Ridge on the board, but then Hendrickson would turn it over to their standout running back, defensive back, Dajae Johnson, committed to TCU, and you can see the moves right there. Johnson into the end zone for the Hawks, and then it's Bryce Helton. Helton rolling and finding Samaje Perrine. Perrine bullying his way into the end zone, and then check this play out. Vista Ridge's Cooper Foster looks like he's headed in for a touchdown, but Trey Mosley lights him up. Ball flies loose right at the goal line, and Jordan Towns picks it up. He goes the distance. Hendrickson leading this one 28-20. They are in the fourth. Conley and Temple playing at Conley High School. Cougars went 10-2 last year, and early on it's Temple's Zachary Allen to Keith Buell for the touchdown. It was 6-2 right there, and then all kinds of time for Allen to Antonio Barrow, makes it 20-2, but then, boy, you talk about an explosion by Conley. DeJean Williams will keep it, makes a great move right there. He's off to the races, and the comeback is underway for Conley. Touchdown Williams. He would do it again on the keeper, and get this, it is 52-33 at last check. Conley is leading Temple and on their way to a victory. Great showdown in 3A. In fact, it's not just a rematch. These two teams met twice last year. Layla Rahimi joins us with Cuero and Wimberley. Layla?
Not only did Wimberley beat Cuero twice last year, once in the season opener and another time in the playoffs, where the Texans went all the way to the state semifinals. The Gobblers from Cuero were back in town looking for revenge, while Wimberley was looking to pick up where the team left off last year. Texan squad that includes Dennis Smith fired up to get back on the field, and they looked good early. Colby Kelly tracks down Cuero quarterback Stody Schoenfeld for the sack on the Gobblers' opening drive. Then on the Texans' first drive on 4th and goal, Brady Lambert throwing to the running back Trinity Wilson, who battles his way across the goal line for the score. They miss the extra point, though, and it's 6-0 Texans. But they add to it with that successful tandem back from last year. Lambert to Brennan Blakemore for that 13-0 lead for the Texans. And if Cuero wants revenge, looks like they're going to have to meet them again in the playoffs for that one. Texans roll 34-6. Next up for Wimberley is the Battle of Ranch Road 12. They play at Dripping Springs next Friday. Roger.
Thanks, Layla. Dripping Springs get an opening night victory on Thursday. Speaking of that, Anderson and McCallum opened up our KBVO Big Game of the Week coverage last night. It was a good one. That's Daryl Bunton for Anderson trying to win their second straight in this Taco Shack rivalry. Now McCallum, their quarterback Braylon Cannon, he's as exciting as there is, and Cannon showing off the cannon arm to Dion Price. Problem for McCallum last night, just too many mistakes. They had 3 turnovers in their final 4 possessions, a couple of killer fumbles, and Anderson holds on for the win 16-10. This Thursday, we've got Anderson and Hayes. Hayes getting a victory under new coach Blake Felt after Bob Shelton coached every football game in that school's history.